Hi everybody, today we are going to work on some typographic pieces. It's a little bit different from our usual work, but I think it's going to be fun. So this first one here, it's very simple. It's just for training. It's about getting comfortable drawing letters. We start by making a simple grid using tape, and then we draw our letters inside that grid. It's very straightforward, nothing too complicated. And I always suggest starting with something simple like this because it's not something that you are going to use actually, I guess, but it is a very good exercise. The idea here is to give you an alternative to those mass-produced word art pieces. You know the ones I mean, those posters or woodcuts that say things like family, gather, live, laugh, love, or something similar. Honestly, they're just not good. Okay, so if you like the idea of having word art in your space, maybe it's better to make something more customized, something that suits your environment better. And even though I don't consider this high art, it still feels more meaningful and personal than something factory made. Okay, our first actual piece is my favorite word. Yes. In this one, I decided to add leaves coming out of the letters. I did a version of this years ago as a paper cut, and I think it turned out nicely here too. Once again, it's a good exercise. It's important to note, keep your edges sharp. Okay, that's one of the key things in lettering. Of course, there are times when organic edges can be part of this style, but most of the time, clean and crisp edges are what you want. Some of these pieces take longer than our usual paintings simply because of the attention needed for those clean lines. But this is actually a very calming process. It can be very relaxing. Next up, it's a more creative alternative to those family word art pieces. You know, the kind you find in stores. So instead of buying one of those, why not paint your own? In this one, we use florals to create negative space that reveals the word family. You can use any motif, actually, but I chose florals because it's something that we've been practicing a lot, and I assume that by now you're already comfortable painting them. You can use masking tape to mark out the word. However, be gentle, okay? The tape is only there to define where you should and shouldn't paint. If you press too hard, the tape can damage the paper. Once removed, you'll get a very nice effect. Okay, now this one is a little bit more complex, but not much hard to do. I drew a simple anatomical heart, and it doesn't need, though, to be overly detailed. If you have one of those posters with your family's names inside a heart, this could be a great custom alternative. In my version, I used words like mother, father, son, but you can replace those with actual names. It adds a lovely personal touch. I kept it black and white, but you can use any color combination you like. But don't make it colorful. It's supposed to be two colors only, regardless of the combination that you pick. Another yes. And I'm using the word yes because it's short and simple, just enough to give you a clear idea of how the technique looks. But of course, this style can be applied to any word you choose. This piece was done pretty quickly. It's something about 30 to 35 minutes. It started off very simple, just the word and some shadows. But then I thought, why keep it simple when I can complicate things? So I added two colors to the shadow. Still too simple, so I added an inner outline. Still not satisfied, I added a border. So at some point, I realized I was spending way too much time on stuff that was meant to be quick. So you can try it yourself and see how far you want to take it. But honestly, I think that the original idea, just yellow and the cream and the red version was already good enough. But it was a fun exercise. This next one uses a similar idea, but each letter is angled differently. The idea here is that each member of the family has a different point of view or something, and regardless of that, they make family. Anyway, the concept is solid, but the execution, well, not my favorite. Still, I'm sharing it with you as another possibility. Sometimes it's about exploring what works and what doesn't, and it's all part of the process. Now, if you want your artwork to tell a story, here's an idea. Most mass produced word art has either names or vague phrases. So, why not go further and create a little narrative? It's a very simple idea, but with a very nice touch. Mark your lines, write your text, and fill the empty spaces with branches and leaves. The thing is, you can create something deeply personal that still looks tasteful, something you're proud to share and that blends beautifully with your home decor without feeling overwhelming or tacky. Again, all of these are here just to give you ideas, starting points for your own creative versions. I added two people here just for a bit of visual storytelling. I used a quote from a song, but you can go deeper. Tell how you met your loved one, your wedding vows, an important event in your life. And finally, this one is my favorite of the batch. Just letters, no illustrations, just text with emotion. I used lyrics from Enjoy the Silence by Depeche Mode. And look, even if you think you can't draw or paint, I'm sure you can write, right? This one here doesn't require special lettering skills. In fact, the more natural and raw it is, the better. Once again, I'm using lyrics from a song, but you can write a poem or a toast or a memory, the story of your family. It's simple but powerful, personal and honest. This piece ended up with a bit of an edgy vibe, but I really like it. There are so many other possibilities I could show you, but let's save those for another time. Okay, so these are the results of what we've done today. I hope this have given you a bit of inspiration to create your own custom word art, something that's more meaningful, more beautiful, and above all, more personal than anything mass produced. As always, keep on practicing and thank you for joining us.